Come explore and eat with me in these 3 fun and delicious activities in Tokyo. Today, I'm doing breakfast here at Park Hotel Tokyo. They do breakfast a little differently here, so there's 2 parts to it. The first part is choosing your set menu. So there's an American breakfast menu and then there's a fresh morning menu. The fresh morning, you can pretty much call it like the Japanese menu because most of the dishes there are what people normally eat here in Japan. And then the second part is a buffet. In the buffet, you get your usual things like the orange juice, coffee, there's rice, miso soup, there's grilled fish, and then there's continental breakfast as well, like bacon and sausage. So I obviously wanted to try the fresh morning menu, so this is what it is. So it comes with the soy milk soup, fresh fruits right here, seasonal salad, and rice flour bread, which I kind of opened already. And for the American breakfast, you get your choice of eggs, and then it would come with a side of vegetables. So I highly recommend sitting by the window. You have beautiful views while you're dining. And I love that they actually put the seats so that it's facing the window. So today is my last day in Tokyo, and I'm gonna change it up a bit, and instead of doing a neighborhood, I'm actually gonna take you to 3 different experiences that I'll be doing. And I'm actually headed to my first one now, and it has something to do with sushi. So this sushi experience is pretty interesting because it's something I didn't plan. When I was in Sakura Hotel Ikebukuro, they were offering this for free because it's something they just introduced. So they said until April, hotel guests can actually experience this for free, and so that's why I decided to book myself and see what it's all about. So luckily, the place we're doing this experience is actually near Park Hotel Tokyo, which is why I asked Sakura Hotel whether I can do this experience after I've checked out, and they said yes. So it's very near the Shimbashi station, as you can see. So the experience is located here at Reiwa Academy Club, so I think it's on the 2nd floor. Let's go. So we're doing a sushi making class. I'm so excited. So I made a mistake. It's on the 3rd floor, and this is very interesting. I don't know what to expect since I've never done sushi making, and this is a new experience. And when you come in, they let you choose the kimono if you want to wear. So I got this black one. How does it look? So after a quick introduction, we started off with watching a presentation in the TV on the history of sushi and some demonstration. And then afterwards, Chef Hide did a live demonstration on how to make it. So we're now starting with the rolled sushi. So how does this look? So now we slice.
It's lovely.
So now we basically just continue doing nigiri for the rest. Now for the best part, it's time to eat. Itadakimasu. Gotta start with the scallop first because it's my favorite. this was such a fun experience. I highly recommend trying it. Like, it's such a fun way to experience making sushi and eating it too. So I am currently at the Shimbashi subway station inside the train, and I'm headed toward Shinteyosu station, and that's because I'm checking out teamLab Planets. Tourism Tokyo actually gave me a ticket to check it out. It's because the teamLab Planets currently has new attractions, and I have actually never been to a teamLab attraction before, so this would be a first for me, and I'm so excited. Okay, so I just got off the station and it's literally right across from the station, so it's very convenient. So I'm in with my ticket now, but there's still a lineup to actually enter the building. So this is very interesting. When you first enter, there are locker rooms and you're supposed to remove your shoes and stuff and just walk barefoot. And that's because you're going to be wet. So once you enter, there are 4 areas: water, forest, garden, and open air. You go to water and you're literally walking on like waterfalls all the way up. And that's why you can't have your shoes. And now I'm in this area where they let you wipe off your wet feet and go continue towards the water area. I love that for each room that you enter, there's a description on what to expect and a background behind it. It is super dark here. It's really hard to take content, but just enjoy the ride. Wow, this is so trippy. It's like 360 degree. You're not even sure where you're walking anymore. For this next one, they asked us to put our pants all the way to our knees because we're gonna get wet. It's water. So here we're actually immersing with art because as we're moving with our feet, the art, like the fish art, is actually moving around us. So this room here is filled with balloons. Wow, this is so cool. So that was so much fun. I've left water for now and I'm headed towards forest. This next one is very interactive. You can actually catch animals using the app, and if you don't want to download the app on your phone, they will let you rent a phone with the app, and let's try. This is so cool, the bouncing balls. Forest was so much fun, and it's very interactive and quite a bit of workout actually. So be sure you're okay to play the game. Some of them can be quite hard, but some are just very easy and fun. My favorite was the bouncy ball thing where you try to reach the end by jumping on the same colored balls. And the hardest, I believe, is the one that's like a treetop trekking where you're climbing on these bars that are suspended. That one is hard. So I am now here at the third area, which is the garden, and I'm not sure what these are set up here. Looks kind of like eggs. Oh, it turns out that part wasn't garden, so I'm now heading into garden. Wow, it is so trippy. The floor is also mirrored, so it's like gardens up and down. So finished garden, that was pretty fun. But garden is probably the smaller out of the three. It's actually only one installation. And the last part is open air, and you actually get to pass through this cafe as well, where you can have like ramen, tea, and stuff like that. And look at the line now coming in. That's a long line, so you actually want to try arriving earlier if you can. Yes, it was much shorter when I arrived. So there are some artworks in the open air as well, like the orchid glass house, which I'm checking out now. Oh, so it turns out the orchid glass house and the other one inside is actually for the vegan restaurant. So that's about it for open air. And that pretty much wraps up teamLab Planets. And it was such a great experience. Like, it was so much fun, very creative. I love the interactiveness as well. A lot of wow moments, especially when you first go into the rooms. Highly recommend like taking it all in first on your own before taking out your camera so that you can visualize it yourself first. So I am now back at Park Hotel Tokyo for my last activity of the day. I am here at Hanasanshou. This is the Japanese restaurant in Park Hotel Tokyo, and what's special about the experience here is Kaiseki cuisine originated in Kyoto, but you can try Kaiseki right here in this restaurant without traveling to Kyoto. So their menu is broken down with like Kaiseki, set menu, and a la carte. As well as for drinks, there's a lot of variety from recommended cocktails from staff. Some cocktails are even made by the staff themselves, and I'm actually trying one of them. And then there's Japanese whiskey, Japanese wine, Japanese sake, Japanese beer. So a lot of Japanese drinks that you can try here. I started with one of the staff recommended drinks, and then I feel like I'm gonna switch to sake paired with my kaiseki. So for my kaiseki, I chose the Hanasanshou kaiseki. That's the kaiseki with the most courses, and most of it is seafood, which I'm all down for. There was a chef's recommended kaiseki, but when I was looking at some of the courses, I actually had some of them already at Chiba Park Hotel, which is also their sister hotel. So that's why I opted to do Hanasanshou, which makes sense as well since it's their namesake kaiseki, so it should be the best one you can try. So the views at this restaurant is spectacular. I highly recommend getting a seat by the window. So this here is the Japanese pepper shochu with soda asuka. Wow, and that's refreshing. So they actually add some yuzu zest there, which adds a nice refreshing touch. And this is actually the cocktail made by the staff, so kudos. So they also gave the menu here for what I'm having tonight. So one thing about kaiseki is it's a multi-course menu with a specific structure. So unlike tasting menu or omakase where you usually know what you're getting or the chef can be very creative with what they're making, in kaiseki it's kind of fixed and very traditional. So for example, some of the courses you will always get are like sashimi, you will always get grilled dish, you will always get a simmer dish, a fried dish. So those category of dishes are always fixed. So we're starting off with the starters here. The starter they gave is simmered tofu, and then there's fava beans, there's salmon roe, there's crab meat, and then there's cherry blossom pickles. Let's try. The tofu gives that like silkiness, creaminess, and then you get that burst of saltiness from the roe. The crab meat gives that like texture when you're eating into it. Very good. And what's also great with kaiseki, I forgot to point out, is that it is very seasonal. So the courses you get is based on the season, seasonal ingredients and stuff like that. So for example, it's March season, so it's Sakura season. That's why some of the courses I'm getting have Sakura in them. But even like the seafood you're getting, the meat you're getting, and the produce, all are based on the season. So if you come here like every season, you will be trying different dishes because the menu will always be different. So next up over here is the clear soup. So what they have here is boiled fat greenling with bamboo shoots. I'm actually not too familiar with greenling, and they said it's a type of fish. Let's try. Let me try the soup first. Okay, the soup is very comforting. It's very light, but still pretty flavorful. I see the greenling. Okay, it's a very light white fish, but you do taste the fish. They also said there's a wild vegetable, and I believe it's this one. So now we are on the sashimi course, and it comes with 3 sashimi. This is sea bream, this is barracuda, and this is bluefin tuna. I'm excited. And it also comes with like radish here, shiso leaf. There's 3 pieces of the sea breams. I'm gonna start with that. Get some wasabi, and it's freshly grated wasabi, which is very important. It's so fresh. Let's try the barracuda. I like that they actually gave barracuda because it's not very common. Like I've had it before, but not a lot of restaurants serve it. And it's lightly grilled on the side. Very, very nice. Now it's time for tuna, one of my favorites. Wow, it just melts. It's so good. So now we're doing the sea bream with the shiso leaf. The shiso leaf adds another dimension, so good. So now I have a new drink here. I searched it up and did sake because it will go well for my next course, which is the grilled dishes. And this is fun. So when I got sake, they actually delivered like a tray of different sake cups and then asked me to choose. I chose this one because it's the only one with red in it, and for me, red is lucky, so I want red. So I got myself the Senkin sake because it's supposed to pair well with everything, and it's a staff recommendation. So since I'm doing Kaiseki, I wanted a sake that would go well with all the other courses I'll be having. This sake is from the Toshige prefecture. Wow, okay. This is actually a very different sake that I've ever tasted. Like, there are actually citrus notes that is very refreshing with acidity. And there's also umami, so aside from the rice, you get all those other flavors on top. Wow, this is really good. And honestly, like, it's very easy to drink. Like, some people don't like the taste of just rice on sake, but this is very easy. You will love it, and I can see why it will go well with just about any dish, just because of how simple and easy it is to drink with the refreshing acidic notes. Wow, this plate looks amazing, and there's quite a bit of things here. So there's grilled cherry salmon right here, there's pepper, there's wheat gluten bread with miso, there's butter burr leaf with sakura shrimp, which is pretty interesting. I've never heard of sakura shrimp. And then there's marinated sea bream sushi here, and then there's firefly squid. I've only had it in like sushi form before, so it's like raw, but this is like cooked, so I'm very interested in trying that. Pond smelt right here. There's a vinegared seaweed right here. So I'm gonna start with the firefly squid. It's actually really good. The squid flavors are very pronounced. Sweetened boiled pond smelt. Wow, that's a nice sweet, hint of sweet, not very sweet. You get the saltiness from the smell. Nice contrast of sweet and salty. Let's try the sakura shrimp. I'm gonna try the shrimp first. Oh wow. Even though like they're tiny shrimp, it actually tastes really strong. Very good. This here is the red sea bream sushi. Wow, that was not what I expected with sushi. The bottom part isn't rice. It basically like crumbled when I ate it, but wow, it was so delicious. Let's try this miso wheat gluten bread. It has a very nice chew. Kind of reminds me of mochi. Love this. It's like an umami bomb. The miso is so good. Pepper. Let's try the vinegared mozuku seaweed. So very different. It's not the seaweed I was thinking of. It's very stringy. Look at this. Okay, let's try. Wow. It's very viscous. And kind of reminds me of like, it has like the jellyfish texture. So it's really not the seaweed I was expecting. Very, very interesting. Then let's try the grilled cherry salmon. The skin is perfectly grilled crispy. I love it when they do that to salmon skin because salmon skin, a lot of people throw it away, but it is so good, especially when you make it crispy. And this one is cherry blossom cheese jelly. Very interesting. Let's try. Very creamy. It's not like the gelatin jelly type of texture, it's more like a mousse type of jelly. But what's good is like the cheese isn't too strong that it overpowers the sakura, because sakura flavor is very subtle. So here you actually taste the sakura and the cheese, both very subtle, but combined it's very interesting. So we are now in the simmered dish course, and this is shrimp wrapped in lily burb bun. So look at this. Let me lift it up. It's very interesting. Look at this bun. And then there's some sauce here as well. Let's try. Oh, and this is very interesting. Kind of tastes like taro. And then inside you get the shrimp. Wow, that's very interesting. So I asked this, I've never heard of lily burb bun before, so I asked what if it was taro, and it turns out it's a mix of sweet potato and potato starch and combined with lily bulbs, and they basically like mix it and mash it all up. Very interesting. And the sauce is green pea sauce basically, and then it comes with this thing here is wheat gluten, the side of like a sakura shape. Very interesting. I guess that's why I thought it was taro, because the sweet potato does add that sweetness taste, which taro also has. Very interesting, very unique. So now we are in the deep fried dish course, and here we have tempura. So here it's a shrimp wrapped in cherry blossom leaf tempura, and this one here is ostrich fern, which I think is fiddleheads. And then here, I forgot the name, but server said it's a wild vegetable in Japan that only grows during the spring. Talk about seasonality. And then there's matcha salt right here. Obviously, I'm gonna try the shrimp first. It's so juicy. Very crispy. Even though it's not like the tempura where you see the batter, it's actually pretty crispy. And I actually like that the batter is very, very thin so that it doesn't really like fill you up, or it doesn't take away from the actual like shrimp and the vegetables. Let's try with the matcha salt. Wow. That one's really good. It's very tender, like it basically like melted when I bit into it. Wow. The ostrich fern has more like chew, has more like texture when you're eating it. I'm loving the contrast of the three different tempura. So now we are at the extra dish course, and It's an interesting mix of pen shell, a type of saltwater clam, and there's squid and there's white asparagus and herbs. Let's try. I'm gonna try each on its own first. I don't think I've had pen shell before, but it's very delicious. It has a soft chew, so it's not very chewy, but you get a nice bite, and the flavor is really good. Then let's try the Ika. If you eat the pen shell side by side with the Ika, you will see the difference of how tender the pen shell is compared to the Ika, because the Ika you actually need to like chew. Then white asparagus. I'm gonna combine both. It's an interesting combination when you combine, like one is easier to bite than the other. So this is the last dish on the savory portion of the kaiseki. This is kettle cooked bamboo shoot and stewed beef rice. And wow, like they actually brought a whole kettle. So there's a lot of rice left even though they put some already here. So if I'm still hungry, which I think I am, I'll probably be finishing that kettle. And then it also comes with miso soup and Japanese pickles. Let's try. It is so fragrant and flavorful. Aside from the beef actually like getting spread around the rice, I like that there are still chunks of beef so that you feel like you have like toppings. And the bamboo shoot also acts as like toppings because you also get chunks of it. And it is so good. Like the rice is super moist, very fragrant, very flavorful on its own. Like you can eat the rice on its own and be happy. It's that good. So let us try the miso soup. Okay, so it is like richer and darker than traditional miso soup. And there's also, I think they are like fish cake wraps, like thin layers of fish cakes, like these ones over here. And there's also like, I think seaweed as well. Very nice. So, you know I'm not a fan of pickles in general, but I'll try the Japanese pickles. Still not for me, but it is more doable for me than regular pickles. Like it's not as sour as it is. So you know what? I'll actually just dump it in my rice and mix everything. So at least my rice will have veggies in it too. I think that's the perfect solution for me. So now I can have like rice, pickles, and veggies. So I was curious about the miso soup because I don't think I've had this anywhere outside Japan before. So I asked like why is it like richer and darker? And she said it's actually they use red miso and that's why it's darker, because normally like a regular miso would be like yellowish, and because it's red miso it gives that like reddish brown color, and the flavor is more pronounced, more rich and dark. So now it's time for dessert, and they have dessert of the day, and it's a plate of fruits. There is strawberry, melon, and orange. Oh wait, it's actually not an orange, it's citrus jelly. It's so unique, but it actually looks like the actual fruit from afar. So let's try the jelly. Wow. It actually tastes like you're eating the fruit in jelly form. Very special. Strawberry. Those are very sweet strawberries. Wow. The melon is so juicy and soft. When I put it in my mouth, it just exploded. Wow, so good. So I made a mistake. So turns out the fruits is just pre-dessert fruits, but it wasn't on the menu, so I thought that was the dessert of the day. This is the dessert of the day. It's cherry blossom sponge cake. Look at this. It also comes with a side of like matcha. Let's try. sponge cake is so good. Like it's so bouncy, so spongy. The texture is perfect. The cherry blossom mousse is pretty nice, but the sakura is quite subtle, so the sponge cake can overpower the sakura if you ate it together because of how thick the sponge cake is. But I highly recommend trying the mousse on its own first so that you can actually taste the sakura. So let's try the matcha now. Okay, this is some very rich matcha. Like it's very earthy, very umami, and honestly, like I love very strong matcha, so this is perfect for me. But if you're someone who doesn't like the very grassy taste of matcha, this might not be for you. But this is really the kind of perfect matcha if you want strong matcha. And now for my nightcap, this is their most popular dessert cocktail. It's called sweet potato dessert cocktail. Sounds very interesting. So there's actually like roasted sweet potato shochu, black sesame, milk, and advocaat, which I've never heard of before, but it's a Dutch alcoholic drink. Wow, okay. That is very interesting. It's cold because I think they kind of blended the sweet potato with ice. So it has the creamy, icy texture with the sweet potato, and you get that sweetness from the sweet potato. But then you also get the alcohol hitting from the shochu and the advocaat. I'm surprised that even though there's like sweet potato, there's syrup, and there's the Dutch alcoholic beverage that I think also has syrup, it's actually not that sweet. Like I've had sweeter dessert cocktails. This is probably on the lower end of the sweetness. It's really good, especially if you like sweet potato. I highly recommend that. And also, I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've had a sweet potato based cocktail. So it's definitely a unique cocktail. If you're a cocktail lover looking for something new to try, highly recommend this. This has been such an amazing dinner, and I hope this gives you an idea on what it's like to dine at Hanasanshou and to enjoy a traditional Kyoto-style Kaiseki right here in Tokyo. And now it's time for me to head to the airport. And what's great is this hotel is connected directly to the subway that will take me to the Asakusa line heading straight to Narita. Until next time, Japan!